What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, his Nestlemania alongside for the ride is not JC, because this man did not tear his calf celebrating a golf bet. Dommy Feds. Let's bring it up for Dommy. I have proof, folks. I'm excited to do this. This is a WrestleMania-sized knocker. Excuse me. I'm getting my voice back. JC is out on injury. He is designated for assignment after he tore his quad and his calf.
Is it really a tear? Is it really a tear?
I don't know, but I can show you the photo that Doc sent me. Apparently, Doc had to make a house call to put kinesiology tape.
Yeah, bring it up.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, fire it up.
He said this is the true American nightmare, is what it says in my chat. So we put kinesiology tape on it. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It's pretty glary. Sorry.
It's pretty glary. We'll get it up on Twitter. But yeah. 30 day DL.
So yeah, he would love a 30-day off from me, I'm sure. Anyway, we got a WrestleMania-sized knocker to talk about here, Dommy. We saw it together on Sunday. We did not see it together on Saturday. I'm curious our general thoughts, but let's dive right in because, again, it was a lot. Let's do this thing. It's WrestleMania. It's a big deal. We all love it. It's my Christmas. I'm sure it's your Christmas as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into very quickly. The only thing that I would think that we need to talk about on SmackDown that happened before we get to the rest of all this stuff was that, in my opinion, Bobby Lashley wiped the floor with all these motherfuckers and became the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal champion.
Okay.
It's not a heat or a shine. We're just talking about it in the order in which it happened. I'm curious your thoughts that, should he been the guy that have won? Would you looking for somebody else to win that Battle Royal?
You know what? Honestly, I fast forwarded through literally probably the only thing I watched on SmackDown was the end. And the fact that nothing ended up really coming of it, it was kind of a waste, right? Like, So an absolute waste for Bobby Lashley, 100%.
See, I was hoping, like I said last week on here, that I was hoping that maybe Bray Wyatt was going to flicker somehow in there. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But
I think that was even more a disappointment for me. Like, that was the expectation set, which was a great expectation. It made sense, right? But nothing to come out of it for him. Yeah, no, absolutely a waste for him and kind of everyone else on the roster who could have done something with that spot.
So then, of course, we're going to get into the crux of WrestleMania, because for me, I was excited. I thought, we're going to see LA Knight, or we're going to see Bobby Lashley. We did not see either of these guys on Saturday or Sunday, but we did get a lot of wrestling and a lot of great moments. Let's start with night one. I'm going to do it in order because it's just easier for me to freaking go through this because my brain won't go any other way.
Yeah, I have not rewatched it back. I was with my friends. There was a lot of talking going on. I was into most of it. It was a very casual watch of night one.
So we get into night one. Austin Theory defeats. That's right. I said defeats John Cena by pinfall. 11 minutes, 20 seconds is a great way to start WrestleMania to kick it off. My buddy Todd actually texted me and said, I think I told you, Dom.
You said this.
How much you want to bet he's going to do the Make-A-Wish thing? And I was like, that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then they did the fucking Make-A-Wish thing. And then you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, there's no way John Cena can lose after he granted like 100 wishes.
I said that out loud to my friend too. I go, how the fuck? Because I had Theory the whole way, and I was like, wow, they're really going to make this kid lose after doing something like this? That's fucking wild.
So it's interesting on my timeline. I don't know how you feel about this.
I was off Twitter for the weekend.
Okay, but on my timeline, a lot of people said Cena looked slow. Cena did not look like himself. He didn't look like, what we remember John Cena to be.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, think this guy's juggling a lot of different things here. I mean, he's in Hollywood. He's coming back for the love of the game. So for me, I'm okay. And he's still the greatest of all time, in my opinion, right now. Mm-hmm. So and he put a guy over in the meantime. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was just there to collect a paycheck. He went out there because of the passion. So for me, it didn't bother me, but a lot of people were like, he wasn't tan. He was slow. He should cover the bald spot, all this other stuff. So,
but it was kind of like, I don't know if endearing is the right word, but like, I think I said it to you, like in a John Cena form, it was almost like Backlund coming back in like 91, you know what I mean? 92, 93, like not to that extreme, but he looked, and maybe that's what he was going for, man. Maybe he just wants to get that not old man, but like that. This is the end of it. Like, this is how I'm going to look going out and give us to that. I'm kind of okay with it. And you knew it was coming. Like, everyone was so upset about the Boston promo with Austin Theory, right? And we never really got a chance to touch on that, but I was okay. I think I even texted you that night. Like, I loved it because you knew when he goes in on someone like that, man, you know what's coming. Like, at the end of this, no matter what he said to Austin Theory, in the moment, yeah, he plucked out all his negatives and everything came to light. But when he does something like that for somebody, you know what's coming out on the other side, And that's why I had no issue with what he said to him in Boston. I love that match. I thought everything was great. Go through the motions. See, it's John Cena. He, like you said, can do no wrong with me. That's one of the few guys that, like, even if you come out and I don't want to say sack of shit, but yeah, if you dial it in, so be it, man.
Yeah.
My favorite Cena match, one of my favorite Cena WrestleMania matches is him and Taker from WrestleMania in New Orleans, the second go around. I love that match. That's one of my all-time favorite John Cena WrestleMania matches.
Because it was quick?
Unexpected, quick, not what I saw coming. I remember I was in the building, so like I popped out of my C-Far, seen him race up the fucking ramp and then come down and get squashed. That shit for a guy to do something like that, yes, like, yeah, give him all his flowers. I have nothing wrong with what John Cena did for Austin Theory, how he wrestled, or how he looked. Awesome, all the way around.
So, of course, it ends with a giant nut shot for the cheap seats to see. It was there forever, but that's okay. But again, I thought this was an amazing, way to start off the show. Mm-hmm. And then we head over to the next one, the Street Profits taking on Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders, 8 minutes, 30 seconds. This felt like something I shouldn't have cared about, folks, but unbelievably.
You guys were raving about it, and I walked to the store to get a Red Bull. I missed the whole thing, and I have not rewatched it, so go ahead. Tell me about it.
I cannot believe how, like, this in my opinion, had no business being that good. That good. And at that point, I was like, holy moly, is there going to be a way for somebody to top this? Obviously, there were matches at WrestleMania that topped it, folks. Don't, start calling me out on Twitter. But I would say it was such a great little match where it was just like Gable suplexing Strowman off a roll, like, and doing it and showing that, like, the strength. Yeah. And everybody got a moment in there. The Vikings got a moment. Ricochet jumped off the top rope to the outside, shooting star to two people. Like, It was just like, and then of course Dawkins comes by and train wrecks Strowman after Strowman had done, the whole train thing. Like, everybody got a moment. Montez flying through the air. So it was just like, perfect. Everybody had a spot. Everybody had a moment. If you love things that just don't stop, like if you just want boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah.
That one to me was just phenomenal. And I can't speak, like, obviously there were other matches on the card that were, in my opinion, the best matches of the nights or weekends or whatever. But this one, in my opinion, should be there somewhere in the conversation because it was just so goddamn entertaining. So I mean, go back and watch it. It's a great one. Next, moving on, we go to, of course, Logan Paul and Seth freaking Rollins, 16 minutes, 15 seconds. Of course, we have the eccentric entrances. But I really love the grandiose and the spectacle that is WrestleMania. I mean, the stage was phenomenal in general.
That stage,
we knew that.
One of the best stages I've ever seen.
Probably the best stage, I would say.
It might have been. It might have been the best stage ever. Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about that in a second. But so he does. Someone said, this is not funny. The blue blazer entrance, that's not great.
No. I was thinking Shawn Michaels the whole way, even though he had a little time, it was a little awkward getting up there and getting down. Like, it wasn't a smooth transition I would have hoped for, but still looked cool. It's Logan Paul, or whatever the name is. So yeah, I was all in on that.
Seth Rollins had, the sing along with the conductor and the whole thing. And it was wonderful because, again, he deserves a lot because of what he does all year round. So I'm okay with it. Obviously, the KSI spot, I had no idea who KSI was.
Meaning that was my problem with it. I thought it was going to be his brother. I'm thinking his brother the whole time. I thought it was just funny that, the energy drink was ringside enough. Like that popped me in. But anyway, yeah, I had no idea who he was.
So I had to, I mean, of course, our boy Danny Grimwood, enlightened me about KSI and all this other stuff. I had no idea that the kids these days love KSI. So it's like a big deal. But again, the table spot was a moment in time. And then of course, just Seth Rollins finally getting his stomp after getting punched.
The one cool thing about this, the table spot was I was watching the table and not Logan Paul, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be late. It's going to be late. Like there was a half second, but Logan Paul did something he was spitting the Triple H in the air, so he really wasn't looking. So like that half second to a second miss time actually made sense.
Yeah,
because he wasn't looking down at the table and he was looking up, spitting the water out. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I thought that was actually a good move on his part, whether he did it on purpose or not, I don't know. But that worked out well, I thought.
It was very logical. And I think that's the thing that we're trying to get to here is when it's logical, when it's good, it's
especially
logical.
For a guy like him, who this is his fourth match or whatever it is. Like
I think it might have been his fifth. Yeah.
He sees that maybe he saw that half second delay and did it. I don't know, but at least it made sense, which I thought was my favorite part of the match, because that match came in a little underwhelming for me, but I also set high expectations the minute I saw it. It was fun. It was good, little underwhelming, but that was the spot. You're right.
Your boy Stoop says Logan Paul is elite. I don't doubt what Stoop says. I just think that
everything Stoop says.
No, we're not going to do that to him. But I mean, the thing is I think it's hard because 5 matches in, he is pretty amazing for what he can do. If you want to be super critical about him, his footwork does need work. His timing needs work. But again, that's not really fair to grade him against someone who's had a shit ton of matches like Seth Rollins. So, I mean, you can see the raw talent for sure.
100%. I'm so excited for the future of this kid if he sticks around. Like I see no reason, especially now with everything else going on, I see no reason for Logan Paul not to stick around and be just exactly what he is, if not maybe even better. So yeah.
I don't disagree with you there. I think we can all agree we're not necessarily fans of the human being, but we're definitely fans of the upside of the athlete, unfortunately. But yeah, again, I thought it was a great match. I'm happy he won. Moving on to something that I think we can all agree was not something we wanted to watch, but had to. Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch defend no tag titles against Damage Control, Bailey, Dakota, and Io. 14 minutes, 44 seconds. For me, this was my fuck you break. Like this was the let me up match for me. I really hoped and prayed that it was going to be different. There was a lot of things in here that I was looking, for. I was hoping for Trish to turn, didn't get it. I was hoping for that. The thing that my biggest critique on this match, and again, this is just me because I'm looking for things, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I couldn't tell who the fucking legal person was like 50% of the time. And especially towards the end, it felt like it wasn't necessarily something I enjoyed. So
my biggest issue with this was Lita seemed so off, and I don't know. It looked like maybe she had a black eye. She might have caught an early shot that just, I don't know. There was something going on with Lita there, and I was so focused on what's going on with her and why does she look like this and what's happening that I really wasn't paying attention to much of anything else in that match.
It's difficult because I mean, how I feel about 6 people in a ring. Like I don't like it in general. I think it's a mess of chaos. Like I just don't, and I enjoy chaos. I do, but you have to be realistic here. And this whole lead up was awful. The match again, probably serviceable if we were just grading it as a match, but because it comes with the stink of everything else. But I mean, it's tough.
And poor Bailey and Io and Dakota, like. Man, this should have been them. This should have been something for them, and they didn't come away with anything either. So, yeah, a big miss there. I agree.
Okay, and then we get to something that I'm sure we can talk about for a while. Rey Mysterio defeats Dominic Mysterio, 14 minutes, 55 seconds. So, I'm just saying, is it the match of the night? Who knows? Is it the match of the weekend? Maybe. I mean,
was that good?
I will say this much. In terms of Gaga, which I'm a big fan of the Gaga.
Yeah.
This had it all. It had the Snoop Dogg. It had the Lowrider. It had everything.
The entrances were amazing. And then, of course, the entrances were incredible.
Just the whole thing. And then Dom having the ex-con, the lead up and the van and the people
cheesy was done well. Like that is the cheesiest fucking thing you can do. Excuse me. And it looked awesome, and he looked awesome in the mask. Yes. I guess in my head, I just had And you guys kind of said this last week, like, it's I think you were on Ray, and it's going to be Ray. I was just so hell bent that this was Dawn's moment. I actually thought it was going to, in my head, it was going to be a retirement match, and this was it for Ray, but they are stretching this one out. So cool. Good for them. But yeah, I mean, the entrances were awesome, and the match, it was what it was. Yeah.
See, for me, I love stuff where like, yeah, it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. But I think like overall as a package, when I watch a match, this is exactly what I want. I want to be transported into something that I forget about my regular everyday life.
Mhm.
This was the matchup that made me forget about my crap and just enjoy it. Because again, we had this whole thing where, he gets to whip his son, which is, not PC. And then of course, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing made me kind of chuckle as well. I guess that was Sol Rucka or whatever from NXT. I did not know that. But then like, just like the drink in the sister's face and the mother slap, then there's Bad Bunny getting involved. It was just, there was just
a lot of Bad Bunny.
So much, gaga. I just thought it was so great. And I couldn't help myself. I think that you could rewatch this like last year to me. And this is why I grade this match higher than most. Last year, it was Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, to me, was the best match of the entire weekend. That's a match I will hold on to and remember forever. Again, it transported me out of my everyday life. Right. I couldn't believe it. I enjoyed it. It allowed me to be a fan. This matchup is also something, much like the Knoxville-Sami Zayn match, where I would show this to somebody that's not a fan of wrestling, because you can understand the story instead of here's these two guys or two women just going at it and kicking each other, to the fucking moon. But this one actually had a story. This one had something to understand going into it, in the middle of it, and at the end of it.
I guess for me, my issue was it was kind of like everything we've seen leading up to this point happening again in the match. You know what I mean? So like maybe that's, I was watching it, but like you kind of already see the shit, you kind of see that stuff happening. So for me, it was just a little like press the replay button on the whole feud coming into this match. So that was my issue with the match. But,
it's an opinion. It's an opinion.
I love the entrances though. A+, fucking awesome.
Moving on, we have Rhea Ripley defeating Charlotte Flair by pinfall, 23 minutes, 35 seconds.
Should we say 23 minutes?
23 minutes.
I love this match. I love, but I'm partial to both these women, and it was everything I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was fucking awesome. So, and good for Rhea.
No, I mean,
sorry, Gab.
No, we were excited to see Rhea win this thing, but it's just tough. It's just tough to really.
What did you have a tough time with?
I think the issue was it started really slow for me.
Okay.
And I'm okay with pacing, and I'm okay with earning it and working into it and all that stuff. It felt really slow. And then it, obviously the minute that she got dumped on her fucking, nose and head in that weird, backflip thing that they did. And then of course, just the, just different things here and there. And then it picked up and then it got serious.
Charlotte turned it on after that. She went full Flair mode. Like everything she was doing means something. Her facials, she was screaming, she was yelling, she didn't phone it in, and she was putting her all into everything Rhea was doing. She was giving it right back and letting us know that Rhea was just hammering away, and for me, it felt like, Charlotte really, really came to show up for Rhea. And I love that about her. Like when she wants to show up for someone, there's nobody better.
So you're calling her a sandbagger?
No, the complete opposite. Oh, no. Sometimes she doesn't go at full speed. If she's in a pissy mood or she doesn't like what she's handed, she lets you know about it. And it's a very not a great quality. I'm sorry, it's a little late, but there was a better word I wanted there. But not the best quality that Charlotte has is when she's not into something, she's not showing up. I wouldn't say sandbagging, but not 100%.
You're calling her sandbag. You're calling her sandbag.
I'm sandbagging. When I hear sandbagging, I'm thinking like sandbagging in the ring. She doesn't do that. I've never seen her do that. Right?
I don't know. Just Stoop. I believe he is in his manager's office. I have no idea. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And to Danny,
parts unknown, Stu.
And to Danny, go fuck yourself. Okay, that's what I tell you, Danny. Mr. Grimwood, slow shamer. Tell me a slow shamer. I'm a pace shamer, is what you should probably say, not a slow shamer. Come on. Although it is probably morning there, he's probably tired. His kids are probably yelling at him. Yeah, I'm still not going to give him a break because he's He's a fucking asshole, that guy.
So,
He's a fucking asshole. All right, moving on. Pat
Okay.
McAfee defeats The Miz. 3 minutes, 40 seconds, not a jobber alert. I was happy to see it. I was really bummed that it was a shitty match.
yeah,
So I'm glad it didn't waste more time, and I'm glad it wasn't a match at SummerSlam or WrestleMania that I was actually anticipating. But it was nice to see Pat McAfee, I guess.
it was. Here's the problem with that with me was like, this is where you got to shut off all the dumb stuff and think that, like, you know, when Miz opens a challenge that we're going to get something, or you're always going to get that moment or someone else. And it was almost like for me, Pat McAfee was a letdown, but not really. You know what I mean? Because the Pat's great, just not what I was expecting and really not what I wanted there. And it was fun, but you know, I was expecting and wanted something else. So
right, of course, you wanted something better, and that's
right.
what we, and again,
And that sucks for McAfee, you know. But yeah.
And no, it was a match. It was a thing. And of course, we can talk about more in night 2, but it is what it is. And then finally, we get to the main event of night 1. KO and Sami Zayn defeat the Usos for the tag team titles, 24 minutes, 15 seconds. That one was a ball buster, an emotional roller coaster, as our boy TJ did say. It was emotional. It was great to see. They let Sami have his moments. Sami got his fucking nuts back. In like KO, anytime KO goes nuts, I'm in on it. I love it. I did want to point out it was so much emotion, but of Kent just seeing the PWG logo with the fight and then Super Dragons logo on KO's tights. Like, I always loved those callbacks that they were in LA back, right when they started. That was their home base in America for a very long time. And then for them to win all this stuff in LA with it being the tag team titles, it's amazing. So it's awesome.
So yeah, and I didn't pick up on all that. So that's not, I don't know them. I know them from Ring of Honor a little bit, but they're mostly all WWE guys to me, right? Like I knew they were there. I may have even seen them a couple of times, never really watched them. But the Usos, oh man, like they almost had me with the blind tags, the breaking the counts, doing everything right that a tag team should do. And even like as a heel tag team, and it was like for a split second, I was like, is that going to be the difference maker in this match? Is that why they're going to end up winning this? Because they are just, the continuity between these two is unmatched, unparalleled, and is, even though Sami and KO have known each other forever, they haven't been tagging together forever. So I was like, wow, the Usos might pull this off. And man, the Usos coming out all in white, like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but yeah, the Usos did it for me in this match more than Sami and KO, and that's not a knock on them. Just, I'm going to say it, the Usos, like, they carried this match, and they were the reason why this match went off so well. Like, the way they worked as a tag team together was, for me, it was incredible. Like, I was so locked into everything they were doing as a tag team, and it was just, it deserved the main event as a tag team, and good for all those guys. Good for all those guys for being in that position. I was the biggest proponent of Sami and KO, the belt should be split, and Sami and KO should get night 1 versus each other for the titles. Like, when all this stuff started, I'm like, that's how this should go down, right? There should be 2 titles, 2 nights. Sami and KO finally get there. All right, granted, it's not going to happen. This is the best case scenario. How's it going to go? How's it going to look? And they had me, man. They had me hook, line, and sinker the whole way. So they did it. They absolutely did it, and I applaud them, all 4 of them. Awesome stuff.
So overall, I would think night 1 was amazing. Night 2, not so much.
Okay.
But it is what it is. We're going to head over to night 2. Brock Lesnar beats Omos in 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Do you care? Are you excited? And can Omos overcome losing to Brock Lesnar?
I don't know how far ahead you get, but no, I don't think this did anything for Omos. I don't. I really don't. It didn't. For me, no. Like, yeah, he got his licks in, right? And it was 90-10. 90% offense, Omos, 10% Brock. And what do you do? Got Omos feeding at 5. Like, that was everything I didn't want to see out of this match, because it was everything I was expecting, if that makes sense.
No, I understand, but I'm under the impression of, like, here's the thing. Someone will always say, oh, this guy's buried, or this woman's buried, or she or he can't come ever back from this, or whatever. In my head, I always go back to Mark Henry. Like, I always think about Mark Henry, and then of course he became the Hall of Pain, and then it was just like the rest is history. So, like, to me, like, you always have another life in wrestling. Like, there's infinite lives, like 9 lives in wrestling sometimes.
And I agree with that. And I want that for Omos. I'm just saying nothing in that match made me think that's in the works for him down the road.
No, and Stoop makes a great point here. It showcased his strength. He tossed Brock around. So, like, again, I don't hate that. I just think that, again, it's hard because it seems like if you're going to try to make a monster, you need him to win, right? But obviously, we can translate over to Monday at some point because
or more dominant offense than what he got. Like, I don't know. Maybe I gotta go back and watch it. I just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't see it for Omos that night. I really nothing he did was like, oh, there it is. Like, that's it for me at least.
Yep. And then it just goes downhill in certain parts of this entire night.
Wow, I'm surprised you're down on two like this.
I'm just, there's certain parts of night 2 I wasn't a big fan of. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler defeat Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalia, Shotzi, Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville by submission, 8 minutes, 25 seconds. Neither of these women were anywhere near the fucking ring except for the finish because it looked like Shayna broke a foot. And of course, Ronda seems like she's got a bad wing. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, bad look all the way around. And like someone, I think it was JC that noticed that Shayna busted her foot up and they weren't even shooting her from like the waist down. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. Nothing on that match for me either, really.
It's one and done. Moving on. And then of course, Bobby shows his trophy. Way to go, guys. Bobby gets a fucking trophy. It was just like
happened.
Victory lap. I thought something was going to happen.
What was that? Like, I don't know.
It's just tough because Bobby's like been so great all year round. And honestly, he's been great. So he really deserves it.
That should have been something for him. Like the fact that they didn't do anything and they just glossed over it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like that either. You're right.
And the next match, which was one of the ones that got me boned up, Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, 16 minutes, 40 seconds.
Wow.
And of course, Gunther retains. It was sponsored, get this, by Mike's Harder Lemonade. It should have been Hamburger Helper because they were beating the fucking meat off of each other. God damn it, it was great. This is where Danny can call me an international shamer, but honestly, I don't know.
What, you want something different here?
No, I just loved it. I just think that.
Oh, because you loved it. Okay, I thought you.
I loved it, but whatever. Sorry, TJ Quinn comes in out of nowhere. You know what, TJ? I'm glad you said something. Lose the jacket you lost. Okay, so folks that don't know, we have a WrestleMania to WrestleMania wire predictions. I was last year's champion. It's Masters Week, by the way, which is why I have this. But apparently, I am no longer available to have this jacket. That's right, the jacket's coming off. So you know what, TJ? Fine.
Prison Mike, Prison Adam. Oh shit! Love this. Yep.
All right, there it is. Okay. All right.
That look.
Okay.
Fucking love it.
This is. I'm going from this to that. Okay.
That's...
All right. There you go. I lost the jacket, TJ. I'm gonna go to the dark side, folks. And for you that aren't watching,
was that Nestlemania heel turn? Is that what we just got?
I mean, I'm already a heel. I don't know how much a healer I can get at this point. But you know what? Fine.
I love that look.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep evolving my look now because apparently
keep that going.
Because honestly, I'm just gonna get darker and darker and darker now because I've lost everything, and now I can't even wear my nice blue jacket that obviously I look fantastic in. And I have to wear this because now I'm not me anymore. What does a non-winning Nestlemania look like right here? All right. And that's why you watch us, not listen to us. But anyway, thanks, TJ, you fucking nutsack. Moving on.
Wait, where were we? Just right then.
Gunther.
I'm glad Gunther won. I mean, yeah, that's great. Keep that IC title on him and let's go. I think that's a big win for Gunther.
I think basically the other two don't need it. Again, I thought this was a star-making performance for everybody. Not that they weren't stars to begin with, but Gunther is definitely on the rise, and there's 100%. no way you can get out of that guy.
Right.
But again, I thought I made the Hamburger Helper joke, but of course we knew this was going to be tough to follow. And of course, the next match for me was something that a lot of people thought was the best match of the entire weekend. Bianca Belair defeats Asuka, 16 minutes and 5 seconds, excuse me. But what I'm thinking here, Dom, is a lot of people thought this was the best match of the weekend.
Well, again, live time, I loved it with you guys, and I haven't gone back and watched it, but I was digging it the whole time, man.
I was digging it because it felt real. It felt good. Obviously, the cute intro with the kids, with Bianca.
And that man, and everything that was going on with that girl there, like she had just lost her mom that day. Like you find that out later. Holy shit, what an entrance for Bianca Belair and those kids. So that was awesome too.
Yeah, I just thought so highly of everybody in this matchup. I mean, I go back and forth because I have like top 3 in my mind. This is definitely in my top 3. I'm having a different time in my head trying to figure out what was number 1, 2, and 3. But
Well,
again,
this was for me. This was like the one that popped off the page for me.
okay, because Dom and Rey Mysterio to me might be number 1.
Oh, see, I could go back and watch it, man. Like I said, night one was tough. It was one watch. We were just very casual, hanging. Like it was just on. I don't want to say it was background noise, but it was on. It wasn't like how we were watching Sunday night.
No, we were watching the fine tooth comb, of course.
Right.
But I will say this much: I don't hate Rhea Ripley or Charlotte either. So it's like, it's like these 3 matches were kind of phenomenal. And again, Gunther was great too. So there's a lot of great stuff happening. So it's difficult. Bianca becomes a Cena-ish feeling every single time. And somebody said she's the new streak in WrestleMania now because she's like 3-0.
3-0, which I don't love that being brought up so early, but it's out there now. So let's see where they go with it.
Well, nobody can ever, do what the Undertaker did.
No, there's not a chance, man. At one point, he was the main event. It didn't matter. There was a stretch there where Mania was just WrestleMania, and you were there to see if Taker was gonna lose or not, and that will never happen again, ever.
I realize right now I'm like wearing an Undertaker shirt, and I kind of look like the Undertaker with my bandana and all black. Like, you've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake. Whatever. Dead Nestle walking. Anyway, where was I? Oh, of course. The clusterfuck of the night where Shane McMahon returns, blows his quad, and then, of course, Snoop Dogg has to fucking call an audible and save WrestleMania because Shane McMahon, this is why I will never, ever, tell myself I want to get into the ring ever again without going back into the ring and training. Because that guy probably was just working out, and then he probably didn't stretch, and then he fucking went for the up and over leapfrog, and then fucking tore his quad. The poor motherfucker.
Is that what it ended up being? Because he blew, his knee just buckled, and it was like, oh boy, like wow. And I mean, as much as I want to say what I want to say about this match, it's my shine, kind of. So, like, I don't know if we, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where to go with that. This is where I'm terrible at this shit. Like,
no, this isn't shine. This is just, you can say
whatever. I know it is, but kudos to Snoop Dogg. I don't usually ever want to know the real story of what happened. This is one where I'd be like, wow, because I want to know everything that went down with Snoop on the outside, getting to the end of this match, because for me, this was my favorite. I won't say match. This was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments.
Really?
Ever. Oh, yeah.
Are you high?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I said it to you that when we were watching, I was like, that was fucking incredible.
Because he's on the fly.
Understand what yeah, this was Snoop Dogg. Do you understand how bad that could have went, Nestle? Like, it went bad, but man, like, Snoop gets in, and like, we were actually laughing about it. Like, this is nuts. Like, we were joking, and you always say, wrestling is best when you're asking questions. Right. Do you remember what happened when that went down? How the chain of events in that room? Dude, we were like, is Snoop going to jump in the ring? Is Snoop on the fly? Did he just get the nudge? Hey, Snoop, go save the segment. Was this the finish? Did they expedite the finish? And then did Snoop nail it? That was the conversation that went around that room in that moment.
Yeah.
And it was like, bang, bang, bang. What the fuck did we just watch? And it worked. It fucking worked. And it was Snoop Dogg. Like, it might look bad on rewatch, maybe. Live time, the way that went down, maybe it was the Roman, the reaction to everything that happened in that moment. That's one of my favorite watching WrestleManias. Be like, what just happened? Snoop Dogg just saved this fucking match.
Well,
Snoop Dogg.
You hear the Miz go, pin me. So like,
you said that right? Like,
yeah. So you know for sure that this clearly was an audible. And Miz lost 3 times at WrestleMania, supposedly, is what he said. Although I don't count the Shane McMahon thing at all, but whatever, it is what it is. But again, it was nice to see. I did not expect Snoop Dogg to save the day. But hey, when you're an entertainer, you're an entertainer. Awesome. Next up, Edge defeats the Demon Finn Balor, Damon Kang, 18 minutes, 10 seconds. To me, this was a letdown.
Well,
for me.
It was, and JC was kind of on it. He said, "Yo, Finn's busted up," and I couldn't really see the blood. He saw it, I didn't, And I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, yo, he's banged up. And like, it just sent the match off the rails. We don't know what we were supposed to get there. So, yes, as much as this match was a letdown, after I saw the stitches in Finn's head on Twitter, I was like, I can't even be mad that this match didn't go off the way it was supposed to. Like, what are you going to do there? Like, did you see the pictures of Finn Balor's head?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Nestle, like, I can't be let down by that match going awry after seeing those pitches. Like, not for me, at least.
And he's a tough son of a bitch for getting through it. I understand
fucking
that.
A, man. Like, absolutely.
But I think that like the expectation is so high that it didn't deliver. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. We all said it like they're going to do some crazy shit.
And I will say this much. Say this much. Like, even though I know he got staples, I know, Stoop. He got staples during the match. I understand that.
But wow. See, I didn't even know that. Nice job, Stoop.
So here's the other thing that I wanted to say. This is a general blanket statement for me. Hell in a Cell needs to leave for a little while.
100%.
Hell in a Cell needs to be revamped, or they need a new gimmick match. I think we've done all we can do with Hell in a Cell. I think we people aren't even getting outside and throwing people off anymore. Nope. It's
the expectation that's been set from years back. We're never going to reach it. Let it go away. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's just hard because I just think that even though it's a cool visual, to me.
That's all it's become.
Like it's just a visual at this point. It's a gimmick. It's a match ender. It's a feud ender, and that's it. And I think we're done with it. I think if they're smart, if they're like Bill Belichick, letting go of people a year or two before they're bad, Hell in a Cell needs to take a little bit of a breather from me.
Did it even have did it have a top?
No, it did have a top, but again,
okay,
it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter. I can't remember if it had it. So yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. But again, kudos to all of them. I'm glad Edge won, so hopefully we can move on from this entire fucking thing.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. And of course, now we go to the main event. Roman Reigns beats Cody Rhodes, 34 minutes, 35 seconds. I can't show the video because I was told by JC not to air it.
Were you taping?
I taped his yeah. Oh, it's just the back of your head going, what the fuck? But Josh is who the fuck is Josh? I'm not allowed to show it. Not that he cried or anything. Or he's like, but it was just it's not great TV. But
I want to hear because we didn't really get. I was feeling it by the time we left, so I was saying some ridiculous shit. So you must be like, Tommy, shut the fuck up. But I really now looking back on it and I thought about it. I'm really interested to hear what you think of everything we watched that night in that match. Not everything, but the outcome, and I can't wait to hear.
I thought it was great from the beginning with I knew something was up when he came up through the ramp backwards.
With wings.
With wings on, right? So then it was like
doing Cody.
Yeah. And then of course he has a sentimental thing hugging his family.
He went Ricky Steamboat. He went from Sting to Ricky Steamboat from the time to the ramp to the time he got to his family. Yeah. He was baby facing the shit out. Every baby face he's loved, he did. And I was like, there might be no losing now. And then
and of course then we have the tribal chief does this whole thing. And I tend to love what happened because I think sometimes in wrestling, it's so obvious. Like it's so obvious that you think something's going to happen. And that's what made me feel like, oh God. And here's the other thing too, is there's two things that went through my head. If Cody Rhodes had already won a championship in WWE, this would have been a foregone conclusion. And if it wasn't the monstrous end boss that he is, the tribal chief, we would have had a new champion. But because those two factors weren't there, we got what we got. And again, I remember JC being so upset, partially for his torn quad and his calf, but also, he also tore his ankle as well. I forgot to tell you, his whole leg's fucked up.
I told him to get. JC, you're an idiot.
He tore his groin, his hip, his quad, his calf, and his ankle. I'm fucking with you. It's just the calf, but I just wanted to keep the lore going.
Yeah. All right, guys.
He's having a rough go.
He was having a rough go at it.
But anyway, JC's been a Cody guy forever, and he actually said to us, "They made me lose my passion." And when I heard that,
didn't love reading that. I
was
didn't
like,
he'll be back though. Go ahead.
No, I know, but the thing is for me, and we can talk about this now, rolling into the Shine and getting rid of part of the regular part. I actually loved WrestleMania. like always in the shine, Mandy Rose. Let's just get into it. Monday
Wait,
night,
okay. So we're gonna get back to Cody and Roman, or are we done there?
Well, no, we can talk about Cody and Roman if you want, but like I think it's
I guess
all
I lost
together.
I guess I lost my train of thought. But all right, fine. Yeah, go on the shine.
No, so the WrestleMania match to me was great storytelling, right? That and you were sitting on the edge of your seat. You were excited to see what happens. And of course, they took the air out of the room when it happened. So, like, is it the right person? I don't know. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing that was a dead giveaway to me. I am not betting against Roman Reigns for the next 2 years because he said we're only in the bottom of the third inning.
Oh, so you watched all that?
Yep.
Okay, because there was some interesting stuff in that. That was awesome.
When he said it was the bottom of the third inning, I went, I have to do the fucking math now. He's gonna be this for like 9 years.
So real quick, well, I guess you kind of touched on this like through a text. Like, I wanted it. The doubt was. We've both said the doubt was in our head. It was because when was the last time a babyface had come into WrestleMania unscathed? Everyone got touched. Andre rips apart Hogan. Triple H beats down D-Bry. Austin gets in the melee with Tyson, and then they get a hold of him in the DX workout. They all got their comeuppance before the match happened. Not once with Cody. Not once. So it was like, how is this going to play out if he wins? Like, people are going to hate this kid. Like, you're going to come in not being touched by this guy or any of his family members and then win the match? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me, and I'm almost kind of glad it went the way it did. Not for Cody, obviously, but just I think people would have soured on him Monday night. I really do. But now we can go to the shot. That's why I want to get that out there.
To get Stoop's point across, he says $9.99 is a Friday. I think that's a Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. But
wow, okay.
I don't think they're going to lose it on a SmackDown.
I thought it was going up in the line on Raw for a second. No, I know Raw after they get crazy. Like, obviously, I don't know. I know, but they had me last night. I don't know why. I don't know.
And I didn't enjoy a lot of Raw, but the one thing I will say is I really did enjoy
shits, dude.
I will say in my shine, I did enjoy Brock Lesnar, Cody, and the whole thing throughout the night. And again,
that was Raw.
And Danny can give me shit all he wants. And Danny, I knew the minute that Brock Lesnar was the tag partner, I went, he doesn't wrestle on free TV. We're gonna get a schmoz somehow.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping we got a little bit of tag though. I wanted a little bit of tag action.
Roman doesn't work unless he.
I was talking about Brock. I just wanted to see Brock and Cody have one tag match interaction before Brock ate him up. But once you saw the time was ticking and Cody hit the pose diagonally, like, okay, here it goes. They're gonna rip this right in the right in the.
And it was vicious. I mean, he ripped the paramedics off. And I think here's the thing that I'm excited about going forward is it's very reminiscent of John Cena.
Oh, 100%.
And I think 100%. that's the catalyst to. And here's the other thing that people are like all upset about. Like, they're all butthurt that Cody lost, and I get it. Like, that's your guy. That's fine. But here's the other thing I wanted to really like. If you're going to be serious about this, folks, and like this is the part that I might lose a lot of people on, and that's fine. But this is my thought about this, right?
Not lose people on any of your thoughts. Go ahead.
But here's the thing, right? Okay.
If you lose them, you deserve to lose them. Fuck them.
But sorry. Here's what I'm thinking, right? And Cody Rhodes was in the WWE from last year, was on a fucking tear, didn't lose, tore his pec, still didn't lose, and then he came back at 30 at the Rumble, and then he fucking basically just did whatever he could and didn't lose again until WrestleMania, was undefeated. So, like, in my head, if he's the underdog, yes, he overcame an injury.
That's where I was too.
But he didn't really overcome anything in the ring. And I think that's why I'm okay with it, because
100% Adam.
If he just who the fuck is Adam exactly?
Nestle 100%. I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's where I was with Cody Rhodes. And I, like, outside of JC, I'm the biggest Cody guy there is. I wanted this for him, like, and I couldn't agree with that more.
But he has to overcome. And honestly, what I can see now happening is that Cody Rhodes is going to lose to Brock. Cody Rhodes is probably going to lose to Lashley, maybe Seth Rollins. Like, he's going to go down a dark path to go all the way down.
Wow.
And we're going to not see, because here's the other thing. If you're paying attention to what Roman Reigns said and Heyman, they were saying it ain't going to be a Backlash. It ain't going to be Money in the Bank. It ain't going to be SummerSlam. It ain't going to be Saudi Arabia. They named all of them. Ain't Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, but they didn't say WrestleMania.
Jesus Christ. They're not rematching this at 40.
I mean, it was back to back with The Rock and Cena, so why not, man? Like
Holy smokes.
I would think that you're going to be on a year of Cody Rhodes trying to he's going to go down before he gets back up again. And a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I think that's where we're going.
And it's crazy to think, like, I guess while we're here, like everything he did outside of the ring, like he left the safest place in the world. Like the fact that he has to come back and do this in the WWE to prove himself again in the WWE after he left, went through the Indies, went through New Japan, went through Ring of Honor, built a fucking company. Like what? And then comes back and they really couldn't talk about any of it, and then loses to Roman now to just get fucking manhandled by Brock. Yeah, wow. Holy shit.
Well, I'll say this much. I enjoyed it. I think that wrestling needs to be more sporadic. That was the only thing on Raw that really I think we could even bother to put in the shine here, unless you have something specific in your notes that you want to talk about.
I already talked about it. Snoop was my shine.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's get him off my TV, get him off my TV. I'm just going to rapid fire this bullshit, and you let me know if you want to stop and talk about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Triple H starts the show, basically says nothing. Same old WWE, we're not going anywhere. Yeah. What an ultimate promise. Now, a lot of people are butthurt as well that Vince McMahon is back on headset. We don't know that, folks. We have no idea how much he is involved. People are, calling for all these awful things. It is what it is. But honestly, that WrestleMania was pretty good. The Raw after Mania was not very good. But again, we don't know. Stop acting like you know. We don't have any clue. Stop acting like you're an insider. You are not an insider. You have nothing. You're like that video of Seth Rollins getting talked to in between breaks, and people are saying, "Oh, his segment got cut." Again, you have no fucking clue.
I thought that was a great segment. Actually.
Again, like you have no clue what he did. You have no clue what's going on. You're basing it on something. And of course, people just run with it. And I think I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of all these people.
Get off it. Just don't even look at it.
You don't.
Yeah, it ruins it. It ruins it, man.
And I think that's the hardest part when you want to share wrestling. And I think wrestling's best when you can share with fans. But when you have to deal with these nonsensical, I'm going to use this because JC's not here, nonsensical virgins that just do stuff, just get off of it. You're not an insider. You want to sniff the business. I understand that. You love it. But here's the thing. Like, if you don't like wrestling, if you think it's shitty, go find something else that makes you happy. Like, I want you all to be happy. But if shitting on wrestling is the way that you get your rocks off, you got to reevaluate your life, because it's just hard to do that.
Fucking A, dude. Why are you there? This is what we do. This is what we enjoyed. It is fucking wrestling. What are you doing? What are you doing ruining it? Like, knock it the fuck off. I couldn't agree more, man.
So anyway, sorry for my soapbox moment there, but anybody on the internet that thinks that I'm a piece of shit, you can find me at Nestlemania. We can talk about it, but honestly,
clip that. Yes.
So we're moving on. Elias, jobber alert, Omos. Elias is a thing. Whatever. I'm fine with it. As long as Rich Boogs is there, it is what it is. Something we did not touch upon, the Usos getting a talking to from Heyman. They were no longer necessarily needed. I'll be curious to see how that plays out on Friday, but that's just something I wanted to mention here. Bad Bunny gets a lot of TV time on Raw here.
A little something there, though.
We're definitely going to have a tag match, it seems like, at Backlash.
Do you think this is more a Damian Priest thing now? Like, now we're moving away from Dom, and is this going to be... No,
I think it's going to be Dom and Priest versus Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio at Backlash.
Okay. So is Priest ever going to get that, like... No. So you don't think that. See, I think this was more of a... All right, we got Rhea, right? Finn's Finn. We got Rhea. We got Dom. They've now had their singles one-on-ones. Priest really hasn't had that yet, right?
But in theory, let's look at it this way, right? Like, so if you wanted Priest versus Bad Bunny...
Yeah. I mean, I don't, technically. Sorry.
But on paper, right? He should fucking squash him. But having Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny, and then having Dom being able to slip on a banana peel, you could have anything happen here. So I think that's why that it would be a tag match, not necessarily that kind of stuff.
I guess I'm just looking for something for Priest there. And I'm not even a Damian Priest guy, but it feels like they always kind of give him something and then pull him away a little bit, Like, I don't know. So I
think he's incredibly talented, but the honest opinion of it is it's just not going to happen. Like, I think he is where he is right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to be something else. He is where he is right now for a reason.
Fair enough. That's what I wanted to know. All right. Awesome.
Theory comes out and does a great job, by the way, and a great promo The crowd actually booed him, so I was hoping for him to say, "Hey, John, that doesn't sound like canned booing to me. That's the real deal." But he didn't say it. But he has a big victory. He had a decent match and beat Rey Mysterio, so he's on the up and up here. I think that's great. I was going to give him my comeback because I thought he was kind of in a shit place, but I'm not going to give him my comeback. But again, I'm again another human being I'm not a huge fan of, but the athlete is undeniable at this point. So I think he's got big things coming.
100%. Yeah, all in on Austin Theory all the time since the minute I saw him evolve. Like, no doubt, skyrocketing.
We have a fun match for the tag titles, of course, but the tag titles can't be, lost in the night afterwards. So, of course, Sammy and KO, to me, it's not that they got over the hill and now we're like on the back nine for me for Sammy and KO. Like I said, I'll be excited when they have a TLC or a ladder match because I think that to me as a tag team will be their moment when they're champions.
I think you hit the grand slam with that. Like, you actually said it what it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh wow, like he's right. Like they're gonna take this, they're gonna take those tag titles to elevations they haven't seen since those days. And I think that is, if they're not gonna do it, listen to Nestle and do it because there's no other way.
I think for me it's like when the tag titles are defended in like crazy matches, like car wrecks, that's where it's money. I mean, the Usos did a phenomenal job going forward, but I think the Usos are a certain caliber. Not saying that Sami Zayn and KO aren't, but I feel like their bread and butter is like chaos, and I want to see them succeed in such a great way. And again, they're a great promo, but I'm starting to notice already, and I don't know if you caught on this, their promo, it seemed like KO was already slightly annoyed with Sammy
since the presser.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just even a little bit.
And it sucks because they're already like, it's like, I don't know. But yes, since the presser, it feels like they're already planting seeds that Sammy's getting way too much talking time and KO is just doing the facials already. It's like, we're going to do this early. We're going to start this early. I don't like that either. So yes.
But again, they're planting seeds, I assume. But it's just, it does slightly take the honeymoon feeling away.
Quickly. Too quick.
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily a giant fan of it, but again, I mean, it's more like a wait and see for me.
Yeah, but I feel that too.
Okay. And then moving on, of course, we already talked it. Well, so here's the thing that I didn't mind Bobby Lashley beating up positively Ali. I thought that was cool. But the Bronson Reed thing, I almost gave him my comeback because I always forget that Bronson Reed exists. And then he does a promo and I'm like, hey, this guy can talk.
And they put a suit on him. They give him the glasses. They give him a look.
Yeah.
Right? They give him a look. Yeah. But then he gets in the ring and it's the same old song and dance. Like, I think that, you know what I mean? I think that's the issue here. Like, figure something, like, change something up. Like, I don't know, you know?
He's Typhoon.
You hit that on the head. He really is fucking Typhoon. And as for Ali, he kept saying to him, like, let me explain, right? Or he kept trying to, like, backpedal and, like, talk his way out of it. And I think I put it on Twitter. I almost wanted to see him somehow slip out of it verbally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, maybe you should go. Like, because it would have been a different feeling. Like, you know where it's going to go. He's going to get in the ring. He's going to get his ass beat. If Ali's going to continue to do what he's doing backstage like this, at some point for me, something has to change with him. And he actually has to talk himself out of the position he just got him in. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would like to see it. Like, it's something different for him. Maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea what's going to happen, to be honest with you, because it's just kind of one of those, he is where he is for a reason.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think they're going to do more with him.
So every time he's just going to lead to a ass whooping.
Just an ass whooping. I think that's probably, I mean, he might get a big victory here and there, and that's fine. But consistently, I don't think he's going to do anything. Like I'm not trying to be negative about it.
No, and I love I guess I'm just a fan of him too. And
I think that's somebody that would be best served in AEW because he's such a phenomenal, silky smooth athlete.
Yeah,
but not necessarily a great character. And that's not necessarily a bad character.
He can talk.
He can, but he comes off
as a heel when he talks and a face in the ring. Like, yes, we've talked about it, and it's hard. It's absolutely hard. Because honestly, it's Dolph Ziggler kind of.
It's Dolph Ziggler, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Okay.
Moving on, we have this bizarre. To me, it's bizarre. Maybe you can talk me into this. Rhea Ripley Belair promo where we're not going to dance now. We're going to dance somewhere.
Loved
down
it.
The line. Really?
I loved it. I mean, I was like, at that point, I was kind of like, whatever, doing something. And then that happened. I was like, oh shit. Okay. And then them face to face. And it really wasn't even what they were kind of saying to each other. Yeah, it came to that. Like, it's not going to happen now, but Now I'm waiting for it, man. I think those two have the opportunity, like, you know how what kind of, like, I don't want to say was soured on the female division, but it's kind of been on repeat. It's Becky or it's Charlotte, you know? All of a sudden, we have two women with the title who really haven't, I mean, they've both been champs before, but they haven't been the champs, right? Kind of in placeholders anytime they've held it before this run, maybe, I don't know. But right now, Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair is Bianca Belair, and you have two superpowers. And when they came in the ring last night, I was like, wow, there it is. Okay, now I'm waiting for that matchup, and I'm here for it. And I think they could, I don't know, give the women's division, a little bit of life. Best way I could put it. So yeah, I'm absolutely here for that. I think it's awesome.
I think that's positive, but for like me, I was just sitting there going,
and that's not even me trying to talk you into it like bullshit.
No,
last night I really thought that.
No, and I appreciate that you're being honest about it. In my head, I'm thinking, what do we like? They're not going to face each other right now. So
so your problem is, how do we get to it?
Right.
Because they're both champions. It's like a Survivor Series thing. You kind of pulled this shit before a Survivor Series where the titles aren't on the line, but the champions wrestle each other. So yeah, they're pulling this shit way too early. It probably should have happened closer to a Survivor Series. And I agree with you, unless something's in the work. Maybe they go down.
Right, but then people start to work. Not that I don't think it's going to happen at all, but I think people are worried about the fact of unifying the women's titles, which would be a terrible mistake because we've already seen what the Roman Reigns problem is going forward.
That's true too, right? And right now, with what both these women are doing, you shouldn't. Absolutely not. No. Because what they can do for everyone else and the trickle down effect for having these two women as your champion, yeah, you absolutely don't do that. You're right. But to get them in the ring together is going to be an issue this close into the year. Yeah.
It also felt like the crowd was dead at that. And I blame the crowd at that point, but it felt like they needed to wake the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
Well, it was tough Raw, man. Like, if I'm in that crowd, I'm probably that same way too. Like, it wasn't a great Raw.
Moving on to head scratcher, Raquel and Liv get as Shayna Baszler put on Twitter, the number 2 contenders. They get a spot. They win. It is what it is. I'm not necessarily in love with it. I think I'm happy to see them on my television. I'm just not happy with the inconsistent and convoluted way these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's hard because these women deserve better spots and they just don't
better structure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the hardest part going forward is like there's so
much talent.
Yeah, we're never going to say the in-ring stuff isn't good enough.
You get two titles, you get a tag title, like the structure is there. Yeah. Like, figure it the fuck out.
It's just bizarre to me that they put so much effort into other things. That just feels like an afterthought. It's very odd.
Why it's become messy, right?
And it wasn't like that always. And we know that Triple H is a huge fan of the women. So
is it Stephanie being away from it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not there. I don't know, but
but I'm saying, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something to look at. Like, I don't know. Maybe.
I think maybe they have evidence of quarter hours and all these stats and ratings and stuff. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Yeah. I think all the women deserve a chance. I just don't understand what I'm watching. Like, it just feels like
it's always a mash. It's always a mashup. It's always just literally like you get you fucking all your wrestlers and the Hasbros, you just throw them in the ring and fucking shake it up. Like, as a kid, like, that's what it is. And it's not disrespect. Like, I don't want to see that for the women, but that's what it feels like.
It's just weird that, like, I know not everybody can have a feud and not everybody can have a reason for fighting. And I get that. I do. But just try. Try something. Just even a little bit, and I think that's the hardest part for me. Again, the return of Riddle, whoop-de-doo.
Bad, dude. Like, wow. That was not a great spot for him. Like, again, maybe it was like the kind of thing where I was talking about with McAfee, where I was the Raw after, but he fell for, and I like Riddle. I'm a Riddle guy, like, to a certain extent, like in the ring and like as a character, I'm a Riddle guy. But when his music hit, I was like, ugh, really? Like, that's where I was at when that happened last night.
Yeah, he's just not. I think he's definitely an entertainer, and I think he's great in the ring. But I think it's like,
there's the stigma there, right? But Randy Orton, losing Randy killed him. Like, that killed all momentum, and to get him back on track the way they did last night was not it for me. Was not it.
I think it's going to be difficult going forward for him because I think here's somebody that has a specific character and it works for him because it's true to him. Mm-hmm. But I think you also need to evolve. No pun intended, but I think we need to see a different iteration of what the original bro is going to be. Mm-hmm. And if we keep doing what we're doing,
because he's a
We've seen
bad
that song and dance.
he's a bad dude in the ring. Like they should focus a little more on that. Like I remember seeing him in Evolve, and it was like, wow, like I didn't know he was like I knew what he was, but I didn't know that was his thing. And it seems like they jacked that up in WWE. But if you watched this kid before he got in there, like his matches were fucking badass, man. Like give me more of that. Give me more of him being a badass in the ring and not an idiot outside of it.
Fair enough. We should probably get to the rest of the show.
Right.
It's time to get hopeful. Glorious. I can't really do it. My voice is still reporting. You're my only hope. Dom, I'm going to let you go first because my hope is going to be more of a bigger thing. So I'll let you do it.
Okay. So I don't, I get we kind of already touched on this. I didn't love this, and I was kind of trying to think of something. Not the end of main event Cody. And I don't know, like, yeah, I guess I was fucking wrong with it. Not the end of main event Cody. Like, to see him do everything he did outside of WWE, coming back, like this whole story. The last thing I want to see is them pull the rug out from underneath him, and he's wrestling Austin Theory. He's losing Austin Theory for the U.S. title. Like, I don't know what happens to him from here, like. So I hope he continues to stay in the main event picture. I think he's great for the WWE. I think as a look, as a persona, as a person, everything. He kind of fits the Cena mold. He can step up to what Cena did to a certain extent. And I hope the plans for Cody Rhodes are WWE superstar. That's my long-winded. I hope he continues to be main event, WWE superstar, marquee, make the rounds, be the face of the WWE, and give the kid the ball one way or another. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking Cody Rhodes. Like, we joke around about it. Like, before all this, he was just kind of like make Cody Rhodes, but no, he like give him everything and make him your main focal point of WWE moving forward. That is my hope for Cody Rhodes. Honest to God.
Are you going to be upset when he starts losing a bunch?
Depending on so this is where my mentality goes. Like, this is like we kind of touched on earlier, and I said you always say, like, when you ask questions, that's when wrestling's at its best for you. For me, it's when you blur the lines of reality, and there's no better blurred lines of reality for me as the Rhodes and McMahon family and what's going on there. It could be absolutely nothing. They could be on great fucking terms, but in my head, maybe there's still a little stigma there. So if he starts to lose and he starts to fall down that card and I start to see it, I'm going to start asking, did Vince come back and pull the rug out from this kid? And I don't ever want to know. This is why I stay off of dirt sheets at him. I don't want to know the truth, okay? Like kayfabe, this is where, is kayfabe the right word? This is where it works for me. Keep it there. Don't fucking tell me anything. I don't want to hear it. Let me blur the lines up here, because that's why I'm so invested. I want to be invested in wrestling. I want to be invested in the WWE. I enjoy this with you guys, and that's why I'm invested right now. So, yeah, let's keep the ball rolling for Cody Rhodes.
I don't think it matters if he wins or loses at this point until he wins the big one. But I think he's going to be safe. But here's the other thing: like, I'm jacked and ready to go for Brock Lesnar versus Cody, because it's insane human versus insane human.
Angels versus demons, man.
Like
angel versus demon. Like,
I literally think Cody is an insane human being, and Brock Lesnar's going to be like, "You want me to what? Sure." And Cody's gonna be like, "I want you to fucking rip my ear out or something." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, give me all of it. Absolutely. As long as it ends up working out for him in the long run, one way or another, and he just doesn't fall back to being Cody Rhodes pre-WWE, absolutely. Give me all of it.
All right. So my hope is very specific. We have not talked about the sale of WWE, so I'm going to get into the hope here of what my hopes are, and we're going to have a little discussion here. Very subject, free, not necessarily getting into the weeds of it. There are some things that I am worried about as a fan.
Okay.
And I'm curious your thoughts here as
well.
And again,
I know nothing about it. I can't wait for you to actually fill me in a little bit. So
okay. So as we know that the UFC is their parent company Endeavor bought the WWE for, I believe, $9.3 billion. Together they are $21 billion. As I'm reading this, as a juggernaut. My hope here is that it's best for business, but honestly, I also believe that if they stop worrying about their shareholders, they seem like they're very focused on their shareholders, and they should be. I appreciate that. But a lot of their fans are not shareholders of the company. So I am nervous that they are going to focus mainly on dollars and cents and not necessarily on the overall product. Now, if you talk to JC, he did say that Endeavor is great for other reasons because they basically are hands off. They just let them run, and they're the money backers, and they just kind of do things to try to expand. And we got a taste of that at WrestleMania with the sponsorships. I think it was $20 million in sponsorships. That was incredible. Obviously, it was kind of hokey with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and the Prime and the taxes and the whole like whatever. But again, you watch any NFL game, it's everywhere. You watch any NBA game,
say, as much as
it's
it sucks,
everywhere.
that's a positive thing, especially with the sale, because
Sure.
like the last thing you want. I mean, who the fuck am I, right? But
Yeah.
the last thing I think the dumbest thing you do is like, oh, let's start tinkering around with the WWE and where they're at right now and how the global expansion this company has become. Don't touch a fucking thing, just let it be and figure out the way to make that a broader scale. Absolutely. That's why I was kind of hoping it was going to be like a Disney thing. But if you guys say this company is good to go, then yeah, awesome.
I think they've made the UFC better. Here's a couple of things that I am nervous about, and I think I've voiced this before. To me, I'm happy that this sale has happened, but as a fan, I do not have any extra money. If you're telling me I have to buy Peacock and then I have to buy the pay-per-view, even if it's 10, 20, if it's 50, 75, I'm out.
So to clarify that, ESPN Plus, what they do is you pay for ESPN Plus like $10 a month, but when the UFC pay-per-views come out, you're paying the additional $50 like we used to back in the day.
Correct.
So the Peacock could possibly not get you right. Could possibly not get you the pay-per-views. Possibly if they go with that structure.
And I think that's the issue for me as a fan. I love the WWE. I will still support them in Raw, SmackDown, live events, whatever. And I'll get the big ones. I'll get WrestleMania or I'll get Royal Rumble. But and this podcast may suffer a little bit. But I think you have to realize that the demographic for UFC are older people who have probably a little bit more cash. And yes, WWE caters to kids, and that kids will beg their parents and stuff like that. But I just they're gonna make money no matter what I say. And that's fine. And I hope they do make a boatload of money. But as a fan, I feel like I'm going to lose out because I can't afford it. And I 100%. Think that is a hard pill to swallow for someone that's a lifelong fan, that I'm missing out just because I can't afford something. And I hope they keep the model they do have with Peacock, at least for the time being they will. But I hope that it stays that way. But I am certainly nervous because I think it will turn off a lot of people. Or the worst case scenario for the WWE is they're going to have to be good at piracy because a lot of people are just going to go find it somewhere else, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's how I feel about it.
I agree with all that. My only other thing was like, is there going to be any crossover shit? Like, is that what we're looking at here? Like, is Roman going to walk in the octagon? Like, if that's what I hear this, like, you know how my mind goes. I like fucking kid immediately, like, oh, like Conor McGregor versus Roman Reigns in a fucking octagon. Like, is that like an expectation that people are having?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, is that what I don't know. I haven't read anything, but I don't know.
I would think
that's
that,
where my mind went.
I mean, I would think that, there's the Riddles, there's the Lesners of the world, that they could have some type of crossover. Daniel Cormier could do,
because we've seen UFC guys in WWE rings. Yeah. We've never seen a WWE guy walk in an octagon. And I'm not going to lie to you. From what I've seen in UFC, I know it's very real, but the outside of it feels like very WWE, so like you kind of felt that coming a little bit. When I heard UFC was the deal, I was like, didn't surprise me too much because, they've been hand in hand for a very long time. So I don't know.
I think we'll see a lot of crossover in terms of like somebody showing up, sitting in the front row of each thing more.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we'll see sponsored elements, or we'll see some type of like together. The only thing that I thought of, and I don't know how you would execute this, excuse me. And I think this would be kind of like more of a goal in stuff, would be to have something where it's WrestleMania or a UFC pay-per-view and a WWE premium live event together as one thing. I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to be like there's an octagon that people wrestle in, or vice versa, wrestling ring that an octagon in or something. That could potentially happen. But I see it being like one of those like spectacles, a whole weekend development kind of feeling. And I think that's where we're headed, where like, I think
that I'm okay with. If it's not mixed together on the card, like I don't want to see a WWE match and then an octagon match on the same show. Like, is that what you're saying?
No. Like, I'm saying
okay, yeah.
I'm saying
two completely different entities throughout the weekend. Yeah.
Like for instance, like they, UFC loves Las Vegas. It's their home. They could be in Las Vegas, and then they could have something at the MGM Grand as well as
absolutely
at the same weekend, and then have it be like WWE's in the beginning of the afternoon and UFC's at the night, or like UFC pay-per-views happen at 10 o'clock.
That'd
You
be
can
cool.
find them runtime into that as well. But it is interesting to me that UFC's on ESPN, Peacock has WWE. So I would look to see something like that get put together and packaged. If it goes to the ESPN, if WWE goes to ESPN, to me, I think we're in trouble in terms of the pay-per-view problem. But I think it would be a lot of fun to have that kind of go over synergy wise. It'd be a lot of fun. And again, I think the issue here's something that WWE can learn from and vice versa. UFC can learn from. UFC can learn how to make stars from the WWE. Right. Because that's the problem I have with UFC. I used to love watching UFC and being like, here's Frank Mir, here's Chuck the Iceman Liddell, like all these awesome guys that I would watch and love and follow. And I'm sure, JC sitting there going, there's plenty of superstars in UFC. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think that you could learn from that. The UFC business model and the way that it's skyrocketed, I think that's where they're going to learn was from sponsorships, maybe dabble into, betting, although it's going to be harder with wrestling. But I think they're going to see a lot of things that UFC does so well with their branding, with the way they do things, that it's going to work out in the end for them. But I think it's an interesting marriage, an interesting kind of thing going forward.
Yeah, I'm sold on it. Great. I mean, I feel good about it right now. So,
well, yeah, everybody feels good about it right now.
Well, I mean, no, this is the best I felt about it, like talking to you about it with everything you just said. So, yeah, like, great.
I think it's a positive for everybody. Like I said, the only pressure point I'm going to feel is for premium live events. Everything else, because I'll lose Peacock or I won't do ESPN Plus. I'll just have to wait for the pay-per-view, and that sucks as a fan because it's going to bother me going forward. But
I couldn't imagine having to only like get the big ones, and even then it's like it's a dent in the pocket, like for like Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Like no, I don't. Yeah,
it's tough.
Cool. That's tough.
So. Very, very tough. But again, I'm very hopeful that it's going to work out. Anyway, it's time to give our comebacks here. Dummy boy, do you have a comeback?
Kind of already touched upon it, that the tag team titles, like the Usos have done a great job with the tag team titles, but the fact that they got separated and they main evented a WrestleMania for the first time ever, and the second time that a tag team match main evented WrestleMania other than WrestleMania 1, but we all know why that happened, so it doesn't really even count. So the first time that really the tag team has tag team champions have main event WrestleMania and tag team match was so fucking awesome to me because I'm a tag team guy. That is my comeback. Tag team wrestling, tag team championships. Keep that momentum running. Obviously, I'm not expecting it to main event ever again, but when the tag team championship is on the line on the WrestleMania cards growing up as the 80s, like it was a different structure, and I get it. There was 3 big titles, so all those 3 big matches, the IC title match meant something, the tag team title match meant something. I would love to see that come back a little bit. We've seen it with Gunther with the IC title, so they're actually kind of like the mid-card titles, maybe as a whole. Maybe I'll switch it up on the fly. The mid-card titles, the IC title and tag titles on the WrestleMania card being important, and just people are involved in it, and it's awesome. It just makes everyone so much better too, because when those titles mean something, man, and you build a character off them, you can do it. We can do whatever you want. Like look at Gunther right now. Like awesome. So WWE keep doing that with your mid card titles. But in the US title, Theory and Cena, like they got to figure it out. They finally have structure to their mid card titles, and it's fucking awesome for me. So that's my comeback. Mid card titles.
There you go. My comeback goes to Shane McMahon. Here comes the money. It blew my quad. I could not help myself. If Shane McMahon blew his quad and JC blew out his fucking calf, this weekend has been a fucking bust for most of us, but God damn it, was it fucking entertaining. And that should just show you how much fun like we had during the entire, like my Sunday was filled with nonsense, but seeing Shane McMahon come back and lose his fucking quad, and then JC with the calf, like it all melds together to me. I was gonna give my comeback to Josh's calf.
I was so glad you
but it's so funny to me. Like it is absolutely hilarious to me.
Incredible stuff.
I'm glad like that JC fucking like not tore. Hopefully he didn't tear, but he like the fact that he celebrated a golf bet as hard as he did jumped up 3 times in a row and then heard something pop and went, "Uh-oh," and then fell to the ground. Like, I was gonna give it to him, but I felt like Shane McMahon was at least in front of 80,000 people, and he deserves it because he just I love Shane McMahon in general most of the time. So,
Me too.
like,
I love Shane.
that song's a banger. I was happy to see him. I'm super disappointed it didn't work out for him. But god damn it, like anytime if that music hits, I'm fucking.
Me too. You can't not pop
what I mean?
money.
Like, you can't. And I think that's the issue with him is just like no matter what you hear about him or what he does, is just like he's fucking Shane McMahon.
He's fucking Shane McMahon. And we kind of touched on this. You said something I've always thought. You have so much respect for Shane McMahon because he never needed to do any of it. He did this because he's like, I get to go not play wrestle, but I get to go be a wrestler and I'm Vince's kid, but I don't want to have the glory. He's never been involved. Like, you know what I mean? Like, put me in the ring. Let me go do crazy shit. Let me hit spots at wrestling. Like, if we were Vince's kids, that's what we want to be. And I think that's why we love Shane McMahon so much. You know, don't give me anything else. Just let me go fucking play at WrestleMania. And that's awesome. So yeah, absolutely.
I think if he had won the match, it would have been a nice little, little tippity top there. But it is what it is. But Shane McMahon's always got a soft spot in my heart sometimes. So
agreed.
But anyway, we've talked a lot tonight, so we got to get to the big old finish here. I do want to talk about, as much as it's been a WWE heavy week, we should talk very quickly about.
There's so much other wrestling. I forgot.
Yeah, well, we should talk about AEW apparently because a lot of people like
What's
AEW.
Going on? What is going on? I'm usually on AEW too, but this is how far behind I am right now.
All right, so let's talk about.
Please tell me what's going on.
Let's talk about AEW here. I've got, let's see, the House of Black defending the AEW Trios Championship against Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Dommy, your thoughts? Do you care?
No, I don't. I don't care about the Best Friends. I love House of Black. No, I don't. Sorry, next.
Okay, moving on. We have Sammy Guevara against Commander, an awesome luchador.
Okay, sure. Give me that.
Do you care for Sammy Guevara? Do you think he's
overrated? I want to. I think he's overrated. I think he's trying now. I think it feels like he's actually giving a fuck. It felt like he wasn't, and he was just being a fucking child. It feels like he's maturing a little bit. So right now, I will keep an eye on Sammy Guevara, but I don't have high expectations for this kid until he can prove me wrong.
Okay. Moving on, we have Hook taking on the Firm's Ethan Page for the FTW Championship.
Yes.
You love that?
Both of those kids. I love Ethan Page. I'm mocked for him because of the Impact. I don't know, man. Everything Ethan Page does, I eat up. So I think he's one of those guys that if you really watch him and you really pay attention, there's a star in there. There's a star in Ethan Page. You know, and Hook, come on. I mean, it's gonna be a blow, right? He's gonna just fucking kill him, I'm assuming. But if there's anyone that can make something out of this, it's gonna be Ethan Page. And everything he's doing with Matt Hardy on Dark and Elevation, they've done some fun shit, man. Like their whole back and forth and how things have swung between Matt Hardy and Ethan Page, and now like Matt Hardy has the control. Like you would probably understand it better than anyone else being in the industry, but like that's what they're doing to each other, you know? Like power is swung, and it's been fun if you've been paying attention to the two of them. So yes, Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, Hook. Give me all that tomorrow night.
I do love Ethan Page. I think that he's a star, but unfortunately not there. That's what my thought is. Not there.
Okay, well, I think you might change your tune by the time that match ends.
I just think it's too crowded for AEW for him to move up the card. That's
I see
what
you're saying. Okay, there is an AEW. Okay, yeah. All right.
That's my thing. Moving on, Jamie Hayter in the house defending the AEW Women's Championship against Riho, the human doily cover.
Riho, sorry.
Riho. I love Jamie Hayter. Riho is great, but I think that this is kind of a convoluted thing.
It's going to break down into something else. As always,
it is what it is. Juice Robinson takes on Ricky Starks, and it should be a pay-per-view match probably, but
wow,
it is what it is.
Yeah, figure Ricky Starks out.
Ricky Starks is
Ricky Starks on the guy. Love this is on WA. Been on him for a very long time. Figure Ricky Starks out. Get him on a fucking path ASAP. That's all.
I think that again, super talented dude that probably should be somewhere else.
NXT would be awesome for Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I think he'd be the face of NXT.
He 100%.
Absolutely.
He would fucking flourish.
Yep. And of course, the last 3 promo segments we've got here. Excuse me. We hear from the Blackpool Combat Club, who are completely heels now, all 4 of them. I don't care.
No, stop running around like you're the fucking Shield. I don't care. Next.
The Acclaimed to give their answer to the JAS. Are they becoming part of the JAS? I doubt it. Scissor Me Daddy, I'm assuming we're going to end up having some type of thing there for a while.
Wow. So they're fucking up the Acclaim now too. Anything that touches JAS, like at one point I was like, yeah, anything that touches JAS. Now it's like, no, keep anything away from JAS. Keep everything away from Jericho. Like,
are they the death of everything?
As of right now, I don't. What was the last thing they did that they made good?
I mean, it's a fair question. I
want that. I want that for JAS. Like Jericho was on a tear there for a minute, right? Like Daniel Garcia and Sammy, when they're together, awesome. Give me more of that. Give me more of Garcia and Sammy together. I think that's who it was.
Yep.
Right. That was fun. Other than that, I haven't seen anything from JAS that makes me interested other than Anna Jay.
And finally, the MJF day. It's just a random promo. I'm assuming it's something, whatever, because he's in, I think he's in New York in his hometown. So I'm assuming it'll be a big thing with ticker tape parade and all that other stuff. And then finally, I assume
didn't we just do this with him with the bar mitzvah?
There's a lot of stuff that seems very similar here.
Stop doing the same thing with MJF and having these days. Like that's very Chris Jericho-ish. Like don't stop doing that. I don't know. I don't like that for MJF. If we're going to continue doing it repetitively, I think once in a great while, yes.
I think for me, here's MJF as a awesome, just plain badass heel doing his thing worked. But I feel like since he became champion, he became something he's not. And it feels like he might be one of those guys that doesn't need a championship to be awesome and super over and white hot. But the fact that he's a champion, I know he needs to be because it's a checklist thing and he does deserve it. But I feel like character-wise, he's showing that he can be a champion, but I don't necessarily think he's doing his best work as a champion. That's just my thought.
I think we might have had this conversation in the group chat. Is it because that was it too much with the 2024, like the bidding war 24? Is Tony Khan kind of in checkmate with this kid right now, where he's like, I make him even more of a star than he already is, and he's definitely gone? Like, is there something going on with MJF right now that like I don't want to say they're stalling, but they're kind of in checkmate with them?
I don't know. I think they're just. I mean, he's the only person they can go to right now. He's been doing great.
He's all they have.
And I think they had to, right? But the other thing too is like he's also doing a WWE shtick in AEW.
That's what I'm saying. So
we'll see how it turns out.
I'm very interested in MJF.
I personally believe Tony Khan will overpay to keep him.
If you're MJF, do you take the money?
Absolutely. He's only about the money. He's about the business. He's a smart dude.
If you're about the business, what do you like? Do you think WWE?
No, he's about it being a business, not the business. He's about making money.
He's about okay. All right. Okay,
that's how I would look at it.
Take. Wow. I mean, I hope it for AEW because he's probably their saving. He is their saving grace.
But now that Endeavor's involved, they might have a bigger load of cash. We have no idea. They might go out of their way for shit.
MJF is so interesting right now. All right, I love that.
And then finally, the Young Guns, the Guns themselves, defending the tag team titles against FTR. If they lose, they're out of AEW.
And they go to Ring of Honor. Done. That's what's going to happen.
So I think here's my hot take. If you heard Dax, he said, we got our blessing, which to me sounds like they're not going to WWE. They're not going to AEW or Ring of Honor. They're going to take a year off and do the fucking indies and just fucking train wreck the indies and fucking make them the daddies.
They kind of did that in between. I mean, I guess now it would be even on a bigger scale too, but they did do that in between WWE and AEW, but now they were just FTR. If you love them in WWE, doing this now for them, yeah, they probably make some serious cash. Yeah, all right, good for them. That'd be fun.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. Unless I didn't look up SmackDown or Raw, but we know that SmackDown's probably going to be very heavy on the Usos not being allowed to be near the Tribal Chief.
That's right, and
some other stuff. I'll be curious to see what happens. Do you have any final thoughts before we sign off, there, Dommy?
Oh, no, more than enough done. More than enough, kid.
Okay,
this has been
Well, thank you for having a better internet connection this time. I appreciate it.
Always, if we do this, I go from work 100%.
Okay, sounds fantastic. Thank you for stepping in the shoes. I'm sure JC will be asking you to milk his calf later, but that's fine.
Thank you for asking me to step in for this episode because it's WrestleMania recap. So little nerves, but thank you, JC. Appreciate it. Thank you, and we're talking to you guys.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening to the Jobber Knocker. We'll be back next week with more Jobber Knockery.